Bill DeFoi, and welcome to Destinations Unknown, where the journey begins and ends. And my co-host, our travel guide to the destinations of the unknown, Michelle Hubbard. Welcome in here.
Well, thank you very much. Hi, Bill. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
It is a brand new year, and we are going to be talking about, since it is into the new year, just about 3 weeks into it, goal setting for the new year. How different is that from doing resolutions?
Well, I would say that depends on you and your intention. There are a lot of ways to create a goal. And when I was in real estate sales, we were encouraged to look at formulas for how many calls you would have to make, and then how many open houses you would have to sit to get an appointment, to then get a listing or a real buyer, and then to get a sale. That's eventually what's going to be your closing and your income. And there's things called SMART goals. And there's all of these different ways of setting things called goals, and they absolutely make my stomach clench. So I've gotten, or I was at least at one point, where I didn't set any goals, and I know your New Year's resolution is...
Only one, and I can keep it every year, and that's not to make any other New Year's resolutions other than the one not to make a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and so these ways of setting goals don't work for everyone, and I'm one of the ones that they didn't work for. So resolution, usually that happens at the beginning of the year, is something you resolve to do. I feel like there's a little bit more commitment when you actually are willing to design a goal that's going to work for you and help move you towards whatever vision or dream is calling you. And that's what STARS goals are. And in the GPS for the unknown that I created, Lift Yourself to the Stars, lift is the emotional integrity component that helps you to be friendly and soft and receptive. You know, living in California and going through the drought, one of the things I've learned is that just because we need rain doesn't mean that when it comes down, our earth is going to be able to absorb it all, unless it comes at a real slow, easy, gentle pace, because it's become really hard in a lot of places, like outside my front yard actually. But when we're a very soft and receptive and absorbent place, then we can receive the rain, or what I like to think of it as is the blessings of the universe. That will then give us some momentum, the serendipity of luck, of good fortune, of blessing that moves us closer to whatever it is that's in our heart and we want to see bring into maybe some sort of manifestation. So STARS goals, lift is first to kind of make you this softer place, but once you've got this opening and once you've got this easiness, all of a sudden you have a dream that you want to make real.
Well, let's kind of quickly review the concept of lift before we get into STARS.
Okay. Well, lift, the L stands for love yourself. And the definition of love that I use is being willing to be in the same space as, which means maybe if you feel scared, you're willing to acknowledge that instead of kind of stomp it down. The letter I stands for integrity-based living. And basically that means knowing in your heart so clearly what you want, what's true for you, that what you speak, what you do, agreements that you make, you live in alignment with what is your truth. And that's the definition of integrity that I use. Then the letter F stands for facing fear. And underneath so many of our emotions, underneath so much of what may appear negative, is really just a feeling of being scared. And so facing that and becoming friendly with that kind of neutralizes it. And then the letter T stands for thanksgiving. And thanksgiving, I use that instead of gratitude so that there isn't so much the knee-jerk way of blocking a feeling, but rather this feeling of true celebration and joy and appreciation that then almost intrinsically motivates us to want to pay forward this good feeling of appreciation for whatever a person, place, or thing is in front of us.
All right, so with that being said, you have the love yourself, the integrity, facing your fears, and Thanksgiving. How does that then play into this idea of stars.
Yeah, the way it plays in is once you've gotten familiar with yourself in that way and accepting of yourself in that way and able to support yourself in that way, you're then willing to look at a goal. And maybe it isn't going to be, it wasn't for me, the formula numbers based imposed by someone outside of me type of goal, but I have found that goals that are achievable and relevant to what's going on in my heart, a vision, a dream, an intention for my entire life, and supported, they're actually fun to do. And they move me closer in ways that are sometimes unexpected towards this goal. As an example, I have a client whose goal was financially based. And rather than making the goal a specific dollar amount, that's kind of the background music throughout, pretty much every session we have, but also all of her life's actions. What wanted to happen for her was to have an awareness of what her body communications were. Do I need to rest? Do I need to eat? And for just 1 week, that's what her goal was, to listen to her body. Well, during that week, her father serendipitously gave her a gift of the exact amount of money that was the dollar amount she said she wanted to make every month. Well, that wasn't exactly how she envisioned getting this money every month. She thought it was going to be through her work effort, and it may continue to be through that. But just setting a goal that's achievable and allows us to open up space within ourselves to receive, our universe has a bigger perspective on things than even our mighty brain does. She received this blessing of this gift of money, other things open up, and that's kind of how things can happen. When we set a goal and we're willing to let ourselves be a soft open space, and we're willing to stand by ourselves if it turns out it needs to be renegotiated.
Okay, so you are going to lead us through an exercise.
I thought so, and you, as always, being such a good sport, I will lead you through the steps, and then if anyone who's watching wants to join in, this may be a way of creating a goal that they want to include in their life or their vision.
Let's go for it.
Okay. The first letter for stars, letter S, stands for a specific goal. So what we first want to do is craft a very specific goal. And that's one of the things that it's good to have a buddy to kind of play with the specificity of. So it can be small, big, you yourself know what your intention or dream or goal might be. What feels like a goal that for a specific amount of time would support you in achieving that?
Well, I'd love to travel.
Yeah.
So one of the things that comes to mind, first of all, is to travel, having the adequate resources and the time to do that.
So resources and time. So what would be a goal that would allow you, what would be a goal that would be a step towards having that amount of time and resources that would be something you could accomplish in, say, 2 weeks? Okay,
the goal financially would probably be, because it would be domestic travel, it's not going to be overseas, but I'm looking at airfare, roughly $400, and a week's time to do what I need to do.
Okay, so are you thinking in terms of having $400 available to you in 1 week? Is that what you're thinking of setting for your goal?
Well, I'd like to have $400 within, let's make it realistic, within 2 months.
Okay, so so you would like to have $400 in 2 months. Now, what would be a goal that could be accomplished in the next couple of weeks that would be a solid step in that direction or supporting you in creating that?
Well, to add money to my savings account, and to do that without, and in doing so, making sure that my spending, does not tap into those funds. So I have to be, really mindful of how much I spend, where I spend it, and then take that money that I don't spend, tuck it away, and keep it there. So, kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, so it sounds like two things. One is awareness around spending, and two is to put money into your savings account.
Correct.
Okay, so that could be your goal for the next 2 weeks, to create a heightened awareness around spending, and then to add to savings.
Correct.
Now, is there any way you want to make that even more specific about add a certain amount of money to savings, and maybe have it be a low amount, so it could be like maybe $5 or more a week, something like that?
I would probably say $50 a week.
Okay, and to make it feel friendly, would you like to make it a lower amount or more?
No, 50.
So 50 or more.
50
How
or
about
more.
that?
50
Okay.
or more.
So the specific goal would be to have an awareness around spending and to add $50 or more to your savings account.
Correct.
Okay. The letter T is to make a very specifically time-based intention that your goal is. So I'm thinking you and I are going to be getting together in a couple of weeks.
Correct.
Why don't we have this be the goal for the next couple of weeks for you?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Now, key component to a STARS goal is, does this feel accomplishable? Because one of the things that we do is we'll set goals for ourselves that I can handle this, or no, I really need to stretch myself, or I should do this. And it's something that we end up failing immediately at and decide, well, I don't like goals, I don't like dreams, I give up.
You know, this is actually very doable.
It is? Okay, great.
It is very,
Perfect.
very doable, yes.
Okay, I'm going to even put very, very. Now, the letter R is a component of a STARS goal that anchors your goal in what's important to you. So, is this goal relevant to some sort of a vision of your life, something that in your heart is really important to you?
Yes, it is. And let me tell you what it involves, and that's to go and see a granddaughter of mine in Indiana. Very, very relevant.
Absolutely, yeah. And see, that'll help keep you motivated, because if your goal was to do this just because you wanted to have more money, you may very well lose interest in it. But you've got this vision, and I've seen pictures of an absolutely beautiful being who's calling you to come visit.
You bet.
And where's the place you guys go to breakfast?
It's called the Breakfast House, and it's in Kokomo, Indiana. So, and it's her favorite place, and she always likes to take a seat to my right-hand side, and her favorite thing to order is pancakes.
I'm tasting the syrup already. Now, the last letter of a STARS goal is S, and what it stands for is being supported. Now, if you have a friend or a buddy, someone that you could call on who would help support you, cheerlead you, encourage you on during these next couple of weeks, can you think of someone like that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to ask them to support you and tell them how you want to be supported?
Yes.
Okay, so that's awesome. Would you be willing to share the name of this friend?
Yes. Her name is Michelle Hubbard.
Oh! Oh, lucky me. Now, how can I support you during these next 2 weeks?
We are, as you said, we're going to be getting together over the next couple of weeks. At our next meeting, it would be probably prudent to say, did you make that deposit of your first money into your account? And I will answer you very honestly.
I'm also willing to be available via email or text if you want to let me know when you do it, and we can kind of celebrate together.
I can do that.
Okay, so I will both ask you, and then you will check in with me. How's that?
That sounds good.
So that way you're not doing this goal all by yourself. Now, a last piece of how this goal is supported is in you supporting yourself. So how will you celebrate or appreciate yourself when you accomplish this $50 each week?
That's a good question. I'd probably do something very simple, maybe treat myself to a Starbucks or something.
And, just to give you some other examples, I've had people who would say to themselves, "Atta girl, good job." Sometimes just to hear that from ourselves is so foreign and so different. One client of mine is giving herself a gold star because she has some left over from, like the elementary
Oh
school
my
days or
gosh.
something like that. But anyway, she's on the calendar. She puts a gold star there. It can even be something like just giving yourself a hug. So if you want to throw that in when you're taking yourself to Starbucks, feel free. But that's Starbucks. Oh, you know what? A hug is cheap.
It's cheap, they're great to give, even better to receive.
Yeah, so if it turns out that you're feeling like you'd rather put that Starbucks money towards your granddaughter, then go ahead and give yourself a hug. That's my
Sounds good.
toss.
All right.
So a review of the STARS goal that our Bill DeFoi is setting for the next couple of weeks. He's going to have an awareness, a heightened awareness around spending, and he's going to put an additional $50 or more in his savings account each week.
Correct.
And we're doing that for 2 weeks until our next show. We'll check in with you.
That's right.
Okay, awesome. And this still feels very, very achievable.
Very achievable.
Okay, we'll take away one very. Don't want to put any pressure
All
on
right, no pressure.
Okay, and the supreme relevance is get to see granddaughter.
Yes.
And then in terms of support, I'm going to check in with you, kind of ask you how you're doing, and you'll feel comfortable sharing that with me.
I will.
And then you're also going to send me some check-in emails and texts. And in terms of celebration, you're going to give yourself a Starbucks treat and maybe even a hug or a good job, Bill, or
Kind of an attaboy.
yeah.
There you
And
go.
I can even see a long-term celebration at Pancake Restaurant.
That's right. Pictures. I will bring back pictures.
Oh, how fun! That would be great. So this is how we set a STARS goal. Does this feel like an easier approach to goals and resolutions?
You know, in all honesty, it does, because when you set a resolution, you don't have the steps to take you to that point. You make a declarative statement to say, I will work on achieving this particular goal, and there's no definitive way or measurable way for you to meet that goal. A lot of people at the beginning of the year will say, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, that can be very achievable, but then you get to a buffet line or you get to a dessert tray and it's like, oh my gosh, forget it, and you start eating away. So having this outline like you have here, you have definitive steps, you have a quantitative measure of where you're going to be starting at, where you want to go, and how you're going to get to that process. It's all laid out for you.
And I think also it's nice to not have to do it all by yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
When you have that support system, and a lot of people, again, I come back to that example of losing weight. Unless you're in a married situation, boyfriend, girlfriend, or having somebody in your life that holds you accountable, you're not going to do that as readily as if you did have somebody.
Yeah. So you're not going through it all alone, and it helps to have your goals be bite-sized. So yeah, I want to lose 10 pounds, but it may take me a couple of weeks to do it. So I'm not going to get discouraged when by, oh yeah, tomorrow I haven't lost my 10 pounds and I wish I had.
Right.
So this will be fun to check in with you on.
Yes.
Well, those are STARS goals.
All right, very good. So again, to recap STARS, you have what process?
You have a very specific goal, and keep whittling it down until it's something that you're already starting to feel is something that you could do. Because what's really great to feel is having accomplished something that you said you would. So make it very specific. Next is to make it very time-based. Small steps, we don't have to accomplish, our huge big vision all at once. In fact, I'm not even sure a lot of times that we can. So make it a realistic time frame. A is to check in. Is it achievable? Is it accomplishable? And if it isn't, then this is a very alive and fluid process. Change it. Make it so that it is. It's supposed to be friendly. And the next is is it relevant? Is it relative to something that's very important to you in your heart, so that it's anchored into that sort of a motivation and inspiration? Like, you know, your granddaughter, how can that be something other than is going to help move you forward? And then last is it supported? Do you have a friend, someone you can ask to help you? And then how can you support yourself? You know, maybe you want to even do an email or something to yourself. Sometimes people do that. But most especially, appreciate yourself, celebrate yourself, either every day that you get closer to your goal, or at the, you know, the end of whatever your time frame is.
Very good, and that's a good way to wrap it up. And we've got this now an achievable goal that, you know, I'm going to look at an 8-week time frame to get the money set aside. I can always work on taking the time to, you know, go and do the traveling, but to get to that point where I can actually purchase an airline ticket, then that's the first step, and then the travel afterwards.
It'll be exciting to share this journey from the very ultimate inception with you.
Yes, it really is. So again, I would be remiss if I didn't allow you the opportunity to put out there your contact information and help others go through their journey into the unknown.
Oh, I would love to, because I know it is a tough one to try and do all by yourself. My email address is michellehubbard4you@gmail.com, and my website is Michelle for You. And at Heritage Media, we have a new website that's getting all brushed up, polished, and exciting for you. And it is hmgbroadcasting.com. You can check out my page and everyone else on Heritage Media there.
It's a wonderful website indeed, and I do encourage you as well to check that out. Michelle Hubbard, we'll be convening back in a couple of weeks, and I know that you're going to be taking a little journey yourself in the next week.
Oh, yeah, I have a 92-year-old father who is the pull on my heart and the sparkle in my eye, and I go down and see him just about every weekend, and I'll go do that this weekend as well.
Wonderful. Well, you enjoy your time, and thank you again as always.
Thank you, Bill DeFoi.
All right, you've been watching Destination Unknown, where the journey begins right here. It's a production of the Heritage Media Group.